Hello everybody and welcome back to another video, and if you're new, it's really nice to meet you. I'm Jane and my husband Mike is behind the camera. We're British early retirees, debt and mortgage free, and living a thrifty, frugal and money saving life on a super tight budget here in Brittany in northwest France. And every Friday we bring you something food related. Maybe it's a shopping haul, maybe I cook for you. And today I'm going to share with you how I plan meals for 6 weeks. Before we get into the video, there are things that I need to share with you. So let's talk breakfasts to begin with. I don't eat breakfast. It's a very rare thing that I eat breakfast. Mike's not a big breakfast eater either. He'll usually eat just one piece of toast, and mostly we just have coffee for our breakfast. So there's no plans for breakfasts. I have planned for lunches, and I'll share with you how we come up with lunch ideas. But mostly what you're going to see today is how I get to the process of planning out for those 6 weeks. I talk about leftovers in the video and how we save leftovers, and I thought I would share with you what I basically do is if I have a meal plan and there's leftovers, it's usually a small portion of it, just a small breakfast, small soup bowl full for lunch the next day. We very rarely buy or eat any snacks, so there's nothing that we're eating in between meals. I occasionally, but not every weekend, will make some baked goods for the weekend. I might make an apple pie, I might make some cake or some cookies for the weekend, but I do not do that every weekend. So we don't usually eat any snacks, we don't usually eat any breakfast. When I'm talking about leftovers for lunch, there are small amounts, and we don't eat desserts normally. Like I said, I do make some baked goods for the weekend. So I thought I needed to put that out there for you in case you're wondering, what about that? Or what about that? So without further ado, let's look at the process of how I get to planning 6 weeks of meals. I've got chicken breast, sausage meat, pollock, minced beef, white sausages, pork joint, lardons, Toulouse sausages, belly pork, stew beef, a chicken, blackberries, julienne vegetables, stew pack of vegetables, mixed vegetables, broccoli, and some half packs of vegetables too. We've got coffee, hot chocolate, curry pots, we've got peanut butter, bamboo shoots, sardines, tuna, pasta sauce, bolognese sauce, mint sauce, sweet and sour sauce, we've got sloe jelly, black jelly, tinned vegetables, tinned lentils, tinned fruit, tinned pate, dried milk, dried potato, and lots of apple sauce too. In this cupboard I'm checking all my dry goods, my flours, my sugars, rice, and all of the beans and lentils I use as well as things like tofu. So you might be wondering, what do I do next? So I've got my stock check done. I've also, not on camera, checked my fridge as well. So I've got cheese to last me for weeks on end, plenty of yogurt, loads of stuff in the fridge, and lots of salad and vegetables are coming in on a regular basis from my garden. So what I'm going to be coming up with now are about 25 meat-based meals and 25 vegetarian meals, and then I can pick and choose from them over the weeks. So I've got 20 days of the rest of the month to go, and I will have enough meals here really to see me halfway through September as well. So I'm going to come up with all of these ideas. I'm not a chef, I don't really use a lot of original ideas. I use things like Pinterest a lot, so I will put in something like borlotti bean meal ideas. I will look at ideas from all over the place. I will look up some vegan meals as well. I will be looking at lots of ideas to use up the ingredients that I've got. And I've got a cup of tea, I've got a notepad, and I'll share with you the ideas that I've come up with. But now I'm going to sit here for about half an hour and put some menu ideas together. So you have seen me do my stock checking, you have seen me roughly write it all down and to come up with some ideas. Now this is what I do with my ideas, and this is meal ideas. I can change this, I might not use this, but it's throwing the ideas out there. I start off with my freezer and I'm looking at how many meals do I have in there. So for example, I've got a complete bag of frozen pollock, which is a lovely white fish. I know there is at least 4 meals in there. So I've come up with 4 ideas. I've got fish and chips, fish pie, fish and cheese sauce, fish and tomato sauce, or we would call it a Provençal, Mediterranean style sauce. I could put whatever I like with that. I've got 7 packs of chicken. I've come up with there. Chicken cordon bleu, butter chicken, tikka masala, lemon chicken, chicken tray bake, chicken Provençal, which again is like a chicken in a tomatoey sauce, and chicken parmesan. So you can see what I am doing here. I'm going through what I've got in the freezer and I'm coming out. Now this is not set in stone. I run a house, I run a kitchen, I do not run the military. This is not something you have to have. But I need a rough idea of what I could do with it. And I know how many meals I've got. So let's have a really quick whiz through. I know I've got 7 meat meals, 4 fish meals, 1 sausage meat base meals, 3 minced beef or ground steak, you might call that, base meals. I've got 2 meals based on the big German bratwurst sausages that I've got. And as I, schoolgirl error, froze them all in 1 pack, I'll have to think about using them all in one go. I've got a pork joint, I've got lardon, so the pork joint will give me meals for 2 days. I only buy the smallest pork joint I can possibly get away with. And if I do have enough pork that I could make another meal out of it, I would freeze that in a container with some gravy. I've got lardon, so I can make some carbonara. I've got 3 packs of Toulouse sausages, I've come up with 3 meals for that. And I've also put here and lunches. Because if I do them with things like in a casserole or toad in the hole or mashed potatoes, I make a small meal in a small breakfast bowl. That would be our lunch the next day. I know I've got 2 packs of belly pork. Well, for me to have enough Sunday roasts for the rest of the month and into next month, I will be using belly pork as well. I've got 4 packs of stew beef, so I've come up with 4 ideas. I've got beef in ale, beef in wine, which is beef bourguignon, beef stew and dumplings. And I've got beef, I do beef in a kind of a gravy, which is very, I put some thyme in it and I put mustard in there as well, and basically braise it gently. I've got a whole chicken that would be 2 meals, so that would be for a Sunday and for a Monday. So I know roughly, not exactly, but roughly, I've got 36 meals in my freezer, and I've come up with some ideas. As I said, they are not set in stone, they are subject to change. I will use the fish, I will use everything here because it's what I've got, but I won't necessarily definitely cook these things, but I will definitely cook 3 minced beef base meals. I will definitely cook 4 white fish base meals, for example. Here's a lot of what I've got in my larder cupboards. I have not written down every single thing, because what I'm doing when I'm looking in that larder is thinking, what store cupboard staples can I turn into meals? And I've come up with approximately 20 ideas. I have 3 large tins of lentils. They can become veggie cottage pie, veggie moussaka, veggie bolognese. I've got a large tin of kidney beans. We particularly like to make bean burgers from them. I've got 3 tins of chickpeas. I can make hummus for lunches for that we can eat with wraps. I've got a tin of sweet corn. That will make lunches. That will make some fritters. I've got 3 tins of soup. They will make lunches. or they'll make main meals, because often in the evening we will just have soup and a cheese toastie. And then let's go through what the actual meals I've got. So I've got 3 lentil-based meals, I've got 3 soup-based meals, I've got 4 tuna-based meals, I've got 4 corned beef-based meals, I've got bolognese already in a jar. Now this again is those nights I don't want to cook, I know they're there. We particularly like to make tortillas, our own corn tortillas from the harina masa, and I've got black beans, and definitely in there will go some tortilla, salad, and we'll have refried beans with that. I've got tofu in the cupboard, another favourite of ours. I'll make sweet and sour crispy tofu and tofu katsu curry. So there you go. So there we've got here from my larder 20 meals. Not set in stone, not definitely going to have them, but I will definitely be using these ingredients in some way or another, and I've given myself lots of ideas. Next, I'm going to share with you some of the veggie options that we put into our meal plan, and again, these are pretty much based on store cupboard staples and also things that I would always have in the house. I would always have bought potatoes, for example. I will always have frozen vegetables. I will always have carrots. I will always have salad. So let's go through these. When I do a veggie pasta bake, it's literally some cooked vegetables, some cooked pasta, stirred together into a casserole dish, popped in the oven. I might put a little bit more cheese sauce on top, or some sliced tomatoes on top, or some crispy garlic breadcrumbs. I've always got lentils at the moment, I've always got tomatoes, I've pretty much always got feta in the fridge, so you know, the salad ideas there. Because I've got rice, I can always make risotto or paella. I've always got flour to make pastry, so I can make vegetable quiche. There's always potatoes, so a layer bake. It's a casserole very similar to a tartiflette, but without any meat in it. And then I've always got lentils. So the lentil-based alternatives, which could be moussaka, cottage pie, I've got here vegetable pie as well, but the things that I can use and I can add in lentils. I can always make soups. These are things that we make for lunch. I can make leek and potato soup with what I've got. I can make minestrone soup with what I've got. I can do lentil and vegetable soup with what I've got. I've always got stock cubes. Bean-based meals, again with what I've got. I can come up with veggie beanie chilies. So chili to me is great without any meat in it. We particularly love beanie burgers. A kofta is like a Middle Eastern style veggie burger, and I can also make beanie meatballs, and I can use lentils to do those as well. And then there's all the savoury tarts that I make as well, so pastry based and things that go in it. Hominy pie, if you Google hominy pie you'll find a million recipes for that. And things like I will use things like caramelised onion. I have caramelised onion chutney in the house that I've made. I put that in the base of a tart and I put plenty of goat's cheese over the top and let it melt, and I make a meal from that. And again, things like vegetables and cheese in a tart. So I've come up with 10 ideas, but a lot of these, a lot of the time, will feed us for 2 days. So if I make any quiche, for example, that'll be our main meal for 2 days. So where it says 10, that can easily stretch to 20. I need to have a very, very rough sketch of a plan of what I'm going to make for lunches. There's going to be leftovers in a lot of these cases, like the fish pie, the German sausages, the Toulouse sausages, any soup that I make. I'm always eating sardines, whether that's with salad or on toast. There will be lentil and bean salads. I will purposely make some things as well. There will be the leftovers of the veggie meals. There'll be leftovers of the pasta bakes. There will be leftovers. So there's lots of things that I make here. So I purposely make protein wraps from lentils and mung beans. If you put in the search bar of YouTube, Frugal Queen in France, lentil wraps, you will see how I make my lentil wraps. To make mung bean wraps, I just switch out mung beans for lentils. Buckwheat galettes, they're a savoury gluten-free pancake that I make that we have for lunches. And sandwiches and toast and pâté. I've always got pâté, long life pâté in jars in the store cupboard. So I've always got outlines of ideas. Again, I run a kitchen, I'm a housewife, I'm not running the military. These can be switched out and changed, but one thing for sure, I will use the ingredients that I've got. You can see here that I use printouts, and I've really just gently sketching out what we're going to eat over the week. I'm not going to read out everything I've got on each week. You can just press pause at any stage and have a look at my planning. But what you can see, the things that I do in general, is that I do a lot of cooking one day and we eat the same again the next day, reheated. I'm doing this for two reasons. One, I've got a life. I don't want to just spend it all in the kitchen. And secondly, it saves on my energy costs. You can see here I've got days where I repeat things for lunches that I will, like you can see here, that I will make coleslaw and rice salad and hummus. I'll put that in the fridge. We will eat that for as many days as it takes until it's all gone. You can see here I've got some days where we don't have repeats, and some days that we do, and we're quite happy to do that. On the right hand side, you can see I've written myself little notes there of things that I might need to buy. And again, on the lunches here, I'll have a couple of things that I'll cook in the week, and we'll just make those last as long as we can. And as ever, we have some days where I cook and some days where I just reheat from the day before. And at any stage, if you want to look at these plans in detail, just press pause and then you can have a look at the page. So again, like I said, I'm not going to reread this, but you can see how I've reminded myself there that I'm going to cook something that I will need to have some red wine in the house for. So I've got my veggie quiche, my pasta salads. You can see here what I am doing. And things like I've got beef meatloaf. They will definitely be enough for leftovers for lunch. Sausage pizza, there'll be it. So you can see here I'm purposely thinking there might not be enough for 2 days, but they will definitely be enough for lunches. So let's sum up the process of what I did. I had a good stock check of my fridge, of my freezer and my 2 pantry cupboards. I know what I have got. I then took that and put together some rough ideas of what I'm going to do with all of that. So it means over the next 6 weeks, I do not need to buy the main expensive ingredients. I don't need to buy any meat. There will be things I will need to buy. I will need to buy some more butter. I will need to buy some things like more cold meat or ham. I will need to buy things like a little bit of salad. I might need to buy a few eggs. But there's no big expensive shop for the rest of August. There's not really a lot to buy until I would say the midway through September. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on using what I've got here. And I hope that has helped you in some way, because if I didn't do a stock check, I could literally have freezer blindness to what's in there. I could have pantry blindness to what's in there. But by doing those stock checks and physically handling them, getting them in, getting them out, putting them back in again, organising and tidying, it cements in my mind what I've got and what I need to use. And I hope it was helpful to you today, or at least interesting. So thank you to everyone who's watched the video today. We really appreciate it. And most of all, a massive thanks to everyone who hits the like button. Thank you to everyone who leaves a comment, and we read every single one of them. And thank you so much to all subscribers, old and new, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now. Bye.